Things. Things. You can't even think about setting your heart on things above, because you can't even think about things above because the things below have your life so enslaved. And he says this, again, the eye is the lamp of the body, so if your eye is clear, your whole body is full of light. Sometimes I was telling someone, actually I was telling the pastor just a few minutes ago when they were hooking me up with this Madonna-looking rig thing. I have to wear these now in all the churches. I don't know, I feel like breakdancing whenever I got one of these things on. But hooking up all these wires, I can remember one time getting ready for this big kind of conference, and they're hooking me up with wires everywhere, and they got tape on my back and clips here and everything else. And I just literally got so, I just wanted to start grabbing wires and pulling them off my body. And I could think about times in Peru standing on a hill preaching to 1,500 people with no microphone. Going all the complexities. It's just another sign of all the complexities. I mean, you can't even witness to anyone anymore in a park. You know, back in the old days, some of you walk up to somebody, hand them a tract or the Gospel of John. Now you've got to bring a media van and do a full-blown media presentation with you know, iPods and MP3s and everything else. You can't witness to anybody anymore. Everything is just so complicated. It's like some of you men remember. You could cut it. Your dad could cut a stick off of a tree for you, and you could play with it for an entire summer and think it was the greatest thing on the face of the earth. Now you can spend a fortune on your kids, and they're bored a half an hour after they get it. That's not their fault. It's yours. It's our culture. It's what we've done. Everything is just so. There's just so much. And the key in our life is to just start tearing these things away. To start tearing out everything in your life that's not eternal. And that does not lead to a closer relationship with your own immediate family and then the family of God. Anything that's an obstacle, that just needs to go. Anything that gets in the way of being godly. Some of you have a revival if you just take that stinking television set of yours and smash it with a sledgehammer. Because you'll go home tonight after talking about revival and watch something that 30 years ago would have been considered pornography by unbelievers. Now you understand why. I knew 2 Russians years ago that had escaped, and they came to our church and were talking, and they shared about how the KGB busted into their congregation and grabbed the pastor and threw him up against the wall and made all the congregation sit there while they pulled his tongue out. They cut it out of his mouth and threw it on the ground and said, "You'll never preach the gospel again." And then right after telling that story, they explained how difficult it was to live for Christ in the United States. And someone said, "What do you mean difficult? There's no one busting into our churches, cutting the pastor's tongue out. What do you mean it's difficult to live for Christ in the United States? Why is it so difficult to live for Christ here?" And they said, "Well, it's just that it's easier in Russia because there's no jacuzzis in Russia." You see, we are not to live like monks, but we are to live like people who use the things of this world and are not owned by it, and who live in this world, but our minds are set on things above, and our treasures are in heaven, and we live for that. No, we live for 2 days. The day when Christ hung before all men, and the day when all men, including everyone in this building, will stand before Christ. You will be judged. And you will not be judged for what you give away. You'll be judged for what you keep. A man with $10 million a year can give away $5 million, he will be judged severely, because you are not judged for what you give away, you are judged for what you keep. You are judged for the shape and condition of your heart. Do you want God? Are you willing to lose everything?
What you're seeing off in the distance is a tornado in western Kansas. Looks like it's weakened a little bit. Hang in there. That doesn't look like it's weakened. I think it's going through a cycle. Let's go.
Many lovers up themselves to leave this earth. In the last days, perilous times shall come. False prophets will rise and deceive many. There will be earthquakes in diverse places. It's in His word, and I know that it's true. Because the end time is upon us. We now have same-sex marriages. Preachers falling by the wayside. The end time is upon us. The love of money, prepare yourself to leave. It's taking over the heart of man everywhere. I know you still think you have lots of time before that day where the Lord shall appear. But you don't seem to recognize the signs, for that day is drawing near. Because, yeah.
And it's in front of the road right now.
Why can't we pay attention to the signs in the sky? Yeah. Take heed that no man deceives you. For many shall come in my name, saying I am Christ, and shall deceive many. When you hear them wars and rumors of war, be not troubled, for these things must happen. And because it's not what you shall abound,
I see that.
love of many shall wax cold. Woe to the woman in those days that are with child, and to them that give suck. Pray that your flight don't come in the winter, nor on the Sabbath. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying. The end time is upon us. The end time, yes. Prepare yourself to leave this place. Prepare yourself to leave this place. The end time is upon us. The end time is upon us. Prepare yourself to leave this earth. Prepare yourself to leave this place.
If your heart's not pounding now, it never will.
They will not work harder, they will borrow more, and they will spend more. Which means that in approximately 30 years, North America will collapse totally, or financially collapse totally. 30 years. Jesus will come before then. I thought, it's now been 37 years.
You are absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're absolutely right that that has not come my Christian faith. And well, what I'm saying is he hasn't suggested that I'm
A renewed effort tonight that could curtail our Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms if President Obama has his way. He wants the Senate to ratify a little-known treaty that would create a national registry for guns. Under that treaty, other nations would be able to identify gun owners in the United States. Bill Tucker has our report.
President Obama went to Mexico and brought back a